Answering football's burning questions in 45 seconds or less. Tom.
Yes.
Eden Hazard has obviously been let go from Real Madrid. Is it easy to fall out of love with the game after so many injuries?
I don't think he's fallen out of love with the game. I mean, he's been with Real Madrid now for 4 years. However, he still says that he wants to prove that he's good, but he's played 98 minutes this season. He's been on the bench, and it's like, if you really love the game, would you not be like, I'm going to leave and play for a different club so I can actually get some game time in?
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I do. Now, Eden Hazard is my boy, and I love him very much. I don't think he's fallen out of love with the game at all, right? And I look at his injuries with Real Madrid as kind of a blip in his career, because when you look at his time at Chelsea, he barely had any injuries. That one season where he kind of had a really crap season, I think it was the 15-16 season. Everyone remembers that season for some reason, but that season was a blip in his career. And then he goes off to Real Madrid, and I've always said, like, the medical team needs to be looked at, right? Because how can he be injured for this amount of time and nothing gets done about it? Like, every single time he comes on and plays, there was a point where he'd recover, come back on, get injured, recover, come back on, get injured. I don't think he's fallen out of love with the game, but I understand if he's a little bit tired of being in the same place where he's consistently injured. So listen, Hazard, if you want to come back to Chelsea, I wouldn't blame you.
Come back. So obviously we had Man City versus Man United FA Cup final on the weekend. Who has been your favourite captain under Pep Guardiola?
Do you know what? It's a hard one, right? Because obviously you've got Gundogan, you've got Fernandinho, you've got Vincent Kompany. And I look at Vincent Kompany and I think that you can never replace. Like, you cannot replace Vincent Kompany. He is Man City. He embodies what Man City is. He created that kind of atmosphere under Pep, saying, you know what, we've got a winner as our manager, we are winners, you know what I mean? And I'll never ever forget, I think, his thunderbolt goal to win them the Premier League like a couple years ago, I think 3 years ago, against Leicester. I was in Box Park watching that, and I thought, this is a captain. So Vincent Kompany has to be my favourite.
But Gundogan, though, I feel like we only have to look at this month. We got 2 at Leeds, 2 at Everton, 2 at Man United, almost 3, obviously, an FA Cup final. He's been absolutely clutch this season, so I think Gundogan for me.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic has retired at the age of 41. 41. But will he go down as a world-class player?
It's hard, isn't it? Because as a world-class player, I feel like you need to have a lot of the titles under your belt. So Champions League, World Cup, which Ibrahimovic doesn't have, which I understand is the World Cup. I mean, from Sweden, it's just been unfortunate. But Champions League, I feel like in his prime, especially like 10 years ago, he should have been at a team where they should have at least won a Champions League title. But now, obviously, being 41, I mean, when you're at that age at football, I mean, is it now time to just pack the bags and say, look, I've got to accept that I'm not as good as I used to be, and now I'm never going to be at a team which is going to win a Champions League?
I look at Ibrahimovic, I see Inter Milan, Barcelona, AC Milan, PSG, AC Milan again.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how have you not won the champs?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And he's not going to.
Exactly. He's not going to. He's 41. He's retired now completely. And I just see it as a big gap in his career. Is he a world-class player? Yeah, probably, because in front of goal, that guy's menacing. And him as a brand in himself, he is just world-class, right? But he's always going to have that gap in his career where everyone's always going to say, Ibrahimovic is great, but he couldn't do it on the biggest stage. He couldn't do it at the World Cup. And of course, you don't expect Sweden to win the World Cup. You don't. But you expect him to at least have a few goals under his belt, and he just doesn't have that. So, listen, is he a world-class player? Probably, but that Champions League.
Yeah, needs to get that.
He needs that.
So in terms of Ange Postecoglou moving to Tottenham, what's it like going into a job where the bar is set so low? I mean, can it get much worse than this for Tottenham and being a manager for Tottenham?
I love how you said so low. Yeah. That is so crazy. Very on the floor. Yeah. But with Tottenham, it's a weird one. I think they're at a weird medium. So their bar's not set extremely high, but at the same time, their fans really want more. Their fans want to see something that is not in the ordinary. They don't want to not get trophies anymore. They want to win trophies. They want to compete. They want to be able to compete for top 4 positions. And looking at their new manager, I'm just thinking, can he do that for them coming from Celtic? I'm not too sure, but at the same time, I'm not going to write him off because we don't know what he can bring to the table. I don't watch Celtic. I haven't watched Australian football either because he's played in Australia. He's managed in Australia most of his career, so I don't know.
But it's a good point because obviously we've had Mourinho, we've had Conte and things like that. They're world-class managers. But I do think it's a good thing for a Celtic manager to come and manage the first Premier League team that he's going to have managed, where the bar is set so low. I mean, imagine if he was going into Man City or something where the pressure is high every week. They have to perform, otherwise the guy's out. They're going to give him a good chance, I think, at Tottenham before they think, right, this guy's not for us, because they've given a lot of other managers a very good chance and they haven't done a good job. And this brings on the question of, like, what do Tottenham managers actually have to do to get Tottenham back to the top 4 now?